So over the last 7 years, I've read about every book on performance, and I've done almost everything to experiment in order to get my body to achieve elite performance. My name is Drew, and I've gone from 140 pounds to 220 pounds. I've brought myself from a 300-pound deadlift to a 650-pound deadlift, a mid-70s fastball to a mid-90s fastball, a 20-inch vert to a 38-inch vert. I absolutely love biohacking and achieving elite performance, and these are my 8 health and fitness tips that changed my life, and I hope that they can change yours too. So let's get into it. So my first tip is going to be how to fix back pain and shoulder pain. So these are 2 debilitating things that cause problems for almost everyone, and most people don't know how to fix it. So most people are gonna go into rest mode, they're gonna go into recovery mode, they're gonna go see a chiropractor, they're gonna go take NSAIDs. All this has its place, but it won't give you that long-term health that you desire. A lot of things are band-aids or crutches to a problem that will keep popping up if you don't treat it properly. So let's talk about back pain for a second. Most people get lower back pain, and that results in a lot of pain, whether that be lifting or doing certain things like rotating, extending. So I had this problem too. I was constantly trying to deadlift a ton and throw my fastball into the mid-90s. As you keep chasing elite performance and pushing your body into new ways, your body's going to push back. So you ask, how do I fix that? So it really comes down to strengthening your glute med. You can do seated clamshells for 3 sets of 10 reps. You can do banded walks, banded monster walks, and that's going to strengthen your glute med, which is going to stabilize your pelvis, which is going to cause you to have a lot less low back pain. So what happens is our hips get anteriorly tilted or posteriorly tilted due to a weak glute med, and it's not stable. So our quadratus lumborum runs from our 12th rib to our iliac crest. And once that gets brought to end range, we're gonna have a ton of problems up and down the chain. So just do those 3 exercises, seated clamshells, banded walks, and monster walks, either pre-training or as an accessory lift after you're done with your compounds. And then in terms of shoulder health, all of the shoulder is controlled by the low trap. So if we don't have a stable low trap, then we're going to have problems up and down the chain. So what I like to see people do is kettlebell waiters walks, Ys, Ws, Ts, etc. 3 sets of 10. I like to do this as an accessory after my upper body days. So tip number 2 is something that's going to seem obvious, but most people don't do it, and that is zone 2 work. So I love zone 2 work for building an aerobic base, especially for people who want to run more miles, do better in a CrossFit style workout, or just do better in their conditioning in their powerlifting or their sport. So how I like to determine your zone 2 pace is through the Maffetone method. So you take 180 and you minus it by your age, and then once you get that number, you stay below that heart rate range while you do running. So this is gonna feel very weird at first, but it's going to build your aerobic base long term, and it's going to build your capacity so that you can train and push the body hard when you do get into those anaerobic levels. So I recommend tracking with either a Whoop or a heart rate monitor, which is gonna be the most accurate. The Garmin heart rate monitor is great and it hooks up to the Garmin watch. But zone 2 work is just going to be an absolute unlock for aerobic capacity and overall health. This is something that's very underutilized among the masses because most people think you just need to go hard as possible all day long. You must go slow to go fast. Tip number 3 is going to be doing speed work. This is something that has changed my life greatly in terms of athletic performance and overall fast twitch muscle fibers. So a lot of us get into these phases of training where we get into these plateaus and we don't know what to do, but it's because we're always staying in concentric zones, which just means up, down, up, down. We get lost, we don't know what to do, and things become confusing. Well, if you're someone that wants to get more powerful or bust through a plateau, I highly recommend starting with one top set of strength work at 80% plus, and then do speed work at 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max. This is going to increase your fast twitch muscle fibers and allow you to produce more force, which in turn will build your max lifts. Speed work is also extremely beneficial for longevity because obviously our fast twitch muscle fibers deplete over time. So if we get started on speed work early, then we're going to have a lot better life long term. I'm gonna link my Power Strong Volume 2 program in the description. This is a 12-week training block which is designed to increase power and speed for athletes, people that want to get more athletic, be more active, increase their strength, and it's something that I've done for years, and it truly is the holy grail of training. As they always talk about, speed kills. Tip number 4 is going to seem obvious, but it's reading about performance, longevity, and even mindset. There's 3 books that have changed my life and have really helped me with performance and mindset, and I'm gonna recommend them to you here. The first one is Boundless. This is by Ben Greenfield, and it's pretty much a 700-page book on how to absolutely crush life from a nervous system perspective, from an overall health perspective, and from a longevity perspective. We don't know what we don't know. So I challenge you to go out there and learn and adapt and grow. Because if we aren't learning, we aren't adapting. The second best book I can recommend on performance is Triphasic by Cal Dietz. This goes over speed work, isometrics, peaking work, etc. This book completely changed my life and really helped me overcome all my plateaus from a training perspective. So I highly recommend getting that as well. And then my third favorite book is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a book that seems simple and only talks about habits, but habits are what lead to massive success in the future. So if you don't have the proper habits put in place today, then how do you expect to get where you want to go tomorrow, the next day, 2 weeks from now, a year from now? So really hone this mindset of creating a system that works best for you, and then over time, you are going to become this absolute specimen that's pretty much unrecognizable. So please, please, please create a routine that works for you through habits and systems, and you are going to level up tremendously. Tip number 5 is nasal breathing. I bring this up time and time again, but it truly is the one thing that you can do 24/7 that is going to level you up in terms of short-term performance and long-term performance. So what do I mean by that? So in the short term, what it really does is it allows you to calm down and it allows you to not be a mouth breather. It reduces your cortisol levels, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, so it signals that your cortisol levels are going to decrease and your stress is going to go down. So in the short term, that is incredible, especially if you're going to enter a big event, you have a big test coming up, you have a big work thing. Focus on breathing through your nose and you will relax a lot more than you possibly could think. We have a lot more control over our body than we even know. So when life stresses get to you, focus on nasal breathing. And in the long term, it has incredible effects to your overall cognitive health. It can reduce the risk of Alzheimer's. It can reduce the risk of all-cause mortality. It's pretty much an absolute unlock for any type of thing that you can possibly think of. And what I recommend doing is going on 10 to 15 minute only nasal breathing walks. You can do 30-minute nasal breathing zone 2 sessions and you'll stay in that 135 to 155 heart rate depending on your age. And then sleeping with either your mouth taped or sleeping with nasal breathing. This is going to elicit the results that you want to increase your overall sleep quality, whether that be deep or REM stages. So tip number 6 is going to be to take care of your spinal and hip mobility. As Ido Portal once said, you are as old as your spine. If you don't have a spine that can move into extension, flexion, rotation, etc., then you need to reevaluate what your spinal mobility is currently doing for you. Because long term, if you don't have a spine that moves, you're going to have a tremendous amount of problems, and that's not what I want to happen for you. I want you to be in your 70s, your 80s, your 90s, your 100s, moving like a champion, playing pickleball with the boys. I want you guys to be thriving. And if you don't put the practice in today to take care of your hips and your spine, then you're going to have problems long term. So what I recommend doing is I recommend doing lat hangs. Hang from a bar, 3 sets of 30 seconds every day. Focus on keeping your rib cage down and engaged. This is going to be huge for you. You can also do spinal waves. Look up Ido Portal. He is an amazing, amazing dude. He has horse walks that help with hip health, and he has spinal waves that help with spinal health. And then you can also do cat-cow. And there's plenty of other things out there that you can do for spinal health. And then in terms of hip health, I recommend you guys doing 90-90 hip series and sitting in a deep squat multiple times a day. So this is going to really free you up and allow you to move freely during your compound lifts, during your work day, during your day-to-day life. No one likes back pain, no one likes hip pain, and all that stuff can lead to knee pain. So once you take care of those little things, you are gonna have a lot less problems, even when you're pushing your body to elite levels. I used to have a ton of problems squatting 500 pounds with my knees, and then ever since I started spinal health and hip health, that pain has gone away. So take care of your spine and take care of your hips, and you will be in good shape, my friend. Tip number 7 is going to be to get morning sunlight and vitamin D daily. So what I recommend is every single morning for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you can do, even if it's overcast out, stand outside for 5 to 10 minutes. You can focus on breathing, and this is gonna help regulate your circadian rhythm so that you can fall asleep at night a lot easier. This is something that has been huge for me in my overall deep and REM sleep qualities at night, and it's also been huge for my cognitive health and mood. So obviously we wanna go through life living with purpose, and I truly believe that if you're not getting in the sun for at least 30 minutes to an hour a day, you're going to be in a lot worse mood than you may think. So just get out in the sunlight and embrace it and enjoy it, and it's going to be huge for your overall health. You can also supplement with vitamin D. I recommend 3,000 to 5,000 IUs daily if you are in a climate that has really limited sun exposure, especially in the winter. In the summer, you're pretty much good with just getting strictly sunlight for your vitamin D, but in the winter, I definitely recommend supplementing with it. And tip number 8, and probably the most important tip that I can talk about, is stay present. This is something that is super, super important, and I don't think many people realize it because we're always dwelling on the past or thinking about the future. My biggest motto is just live in the day, stay in the day. Because if you don't do that, then you're not enjoying the present moment. I'm a huge believer in capitalizing and crushing every single second of the day, and this is what makes me super happy. It drives me towards success. But if I'm worrying about what someone said about me last week, or I'm thinking about something that hasn't happened yet in the future, my mindset's not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be able to give my best self on that day. Because you gotta remember, stress to the body, to the central nervous system, to the parasympathetic nervous system, it's not just physical. Stress is super mental, and mental stress has a huge effect on Alzheimer's and diseases long term. So we wanna eliminate that stress through breath work, sleeping properly, creating habits that work best for you so that you can free up time, so that you can be super successful, so that you can dominate life. If you let life happen to you instead of you making life happen, then you're going to have problems no matter what. No matter what I can tell you. So the biggest tip that I can give you is stay in the day. Don't think about the past. Don't think about the future. Be cognizant of it. But create habits in place in each and every single day that are going to set you up for a bright future. And this is something that I really practice every single day. And it's difficult, don't get me wrong. But just stay in the day and win every single day, and I promise you, you are going to go far. Alright guys, so that wraps up the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it, and there's going to be much more to come. These 8 tips are something that I practice every single day, and it's something that truly has changed my life. And it does seem simple, but the simple things lead to big things. So I really hope you have a great day. I hope you come back for more, and if you could like, sub, comment, I really appreciate all of you, and until next time, peace.